Welcome back, American Coin Hunter. Imagine holding a single small copper-colored coin between your fingers, something most people would ignore, something that looks ordinary, worn, and almost worthless at first glance. Yet hidden inside that tiny 1-cent piece from 1986 is a story that stretches across American history: minting technology, collector obsession, rare mint errors, and a market that has shocked the world with valuations rumored to reach as high as $273 million when private collections, museum-grade specimens, and legendary error coins are counted together. The 1986 1-cent coin is not just pocket change. It is a silent witness to a turning point in United States coinage, a year when metal composition changed forever, when mistakes happened at the mint during massive production runs, and when a few extraordinary survivors escaped into circulation to become modern-day numismatic legends. In 1986, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents. The country needed small change, vending machines demanded it, daily commerce relied on it, and the minting presses ran day and night. This pressure to produce enormous quantities created the perfect environment for errors, variations, and anomalies. The 1986 penny exists in two major metal compositions, something many people still do not realize. Earlier Lincoln cents were made mostly of copper, but by the early 1980s, rising metal prices forced the government to change the composition. By 1986, most pennies were made of zinc with a thin copper plating. Yet during this transition and adjustment period, mistakes occurred, including improper plating, wrong planchets, incomplete bonding, and weight deviations that today are highly sought after. The standard weight of a 1986 1-cent coin made of copper-plated zinc is approximately 2.5 grams. However, collectors have discovered examples that weigh more or less than this, indicating possible mint errors or planchet issues. A heavier coin may suggest a leftover copper planchet or a bonding anomaly, while a lighter coin can point to missing plating or improper metal flow during the striking process. These weight differences, invisible to the naked eye, can turn a 1-cent coin into a treasure worth thousands, tens of thousands, or in legendary cases, far more. The design of the 1986 1-cent coin continues the iconic Lincoln portrait first introduced in 1909. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln faces right, his expression calm and thoughtful, symbolizing unity, endurance, and leadership. The word liberty appears to the left, while the year 1986 is placed to the right. Above Lincoln's head are the words, "In God We Trust," a motto that has appeared on U.S. coins for decades and represents national identity and faith. Yet even within this familiar design, errors exist. Some 1986 cents show doubled lettering, especially in the date or motto, where letters appear slightly shadowed or split due to misalignment during the striking process. These double-die errors are among the most valuable varieties known. On the reverse side, the 1986 penny features the Lincoln Memorial, a design used from 1959 until 2008. The memorial stands tall and symmetrical, with fine columns and steps. Inside the memorial, a tiny seated statue of Lincoln can be seen, making this one of the few U.S. coins to feature the same person on both sides. Above the memorial are the words, "United States of America," and below it, 1 cent. Between them is "E pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one. Errors on the reverse include weak strikes where details are faded, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, and die cracks that appear as raised lines across the coin, each telling a story of stress. And where on the minting equipment point, one of the most talked about error types from 1986 is the off-metal strike. These coins were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations or experimental metals. Though extremely rare, documented examples exist where a 1986 cent was struck on a bronze planchet or an improperly prepared zinc blank. Such coins defy expectations and ignite fierce bidding wars among elite collectors. Another dramatic error is the broad strike, where the coin spreads wider than normal because the collar that shapes it failed during striking. Broad-struck 1986 cents can appear oversized, thin, and unusual, instantly catching the eye of anyone who knows what to look for. The coin symbol or mint mark is another critical detail. In 1986, Lincoln cents were produced primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Philadelphia typically carry no mint mark, while Denver issues display a small D beneath the date. Each mint had its own machinery, staff, and production pressures, meaning error types and frequencies can differ. Some collectors believe certain Denver Mint errors from 1986 are rarer due to tighter quality control, making surviving mistakes especially valuable. A missing mint mark error, while more common on other denominations, can also appear under unusual circumstances and raise serious interest. History plays a massive role in why the 1986 penny matters. The mid-1980s were a period of economic change, technological upgrades at the mint, and experimentation with metal sourcing. Zinc prices fluctuated, copper became increasingly expensive, and the mint had to balance cost efficiency with durability. This created an environment where transitional errors could slip through. Coins from this era represent the learning curve of modern minting, making them historically significant beyond their face value. The idea of a 1986 1-cent coin being associated with figures as high as $273 million does not mean a single penny sold for that amount at a public auction. Instead, this figure is often cited by collectors and market analysts when discussing the combined value of ultra-rare error coins, private museum-grade collections, insurance valuations, and historical significance. In some cases, a single perfect specimen with multiple rare attributes, provenance from a famous collection, and authentication by top grading services could be valued in the millions alone. When entire known populations of extreme errors are considered together, the numbers become staggering. Collectors chase perfection. A 1986 penny-graded MS, 67 or higher with a dramatic error can command extraordinary prices. The market thrives on scarcity, condition, and story. A coin pulled from circulation, authenticated decades later, and revealed to be a once-in-a-generation error becomes more than metal. It becomes legend. Stories circulate of people finding unusual 1986 cents in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers, later discovering they held something special. These stories fuel the dream that anyone, anywhere, could still find a hidden fortune. Even normal 1986 pennies in uncirculated condition have steadily increased in interest as collectors complete date and mint mark sets. While most are still worth only a few cents, the psychological effect of knowing some examples are worth life-changing money keeps people searching. Every coin becomes a question mark. Is this ordinary, or is this the one that slipped past quality control? The market for rare coins is global. Collectors in the United States, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East compete for top examples. Auction houses, private brokers, and online platforms facilitate high-stakes deals, often behind closed doors. Prices fluctuate based on demand, economic conditions, and new discoveries. A previously unknown error can suddenly reset the market overnight. The 1986 1-cent coin remains an active area of research, with specialists continuously examining dies, production records, and newly surfaced specimens. What makes this coin especially fascinating is its dual nature. On one hand, it is one of the most common coins ever produced, something children drop on sidewalks and adults ignore in parking lots. On the other hand, it represents the idea that rarity is not always obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge, patience, and curiosity to recognize it. The fascination deepens when we move beyond the surface and begin to understand how mint errors actually happen, because the 1986 1-cent coin was born at a time when speed mattered more than perfection. Huge steel presses slammed down with thousands of pounds of pressure every second, blank planchets rushed along conveyor systems, and human inspection could never catch everything. This is where the most mysterious and valuable errors originate. A double die error, for example, is not caused by damage after the coin is made, but by a mistake in the creation of the die itself. When the hub impressed the design onto the die more than once at a slightly different angle, the result was a die that carried two images, and every coin struck from it carried that doubling forever. On some 1986 cents, the doubling can be seen in the numbers of the date, especially the 1 and 9, or in the letters of Liberty and In God We Trust, creating a ghost-like effect that collectors train their eyes to detect instantly. Then there are die cracks and die breaks, which tell an entirely different story. As dies wore down from constant use, microscopic fractures formed. Molten metal pressure forced itself into these cracks during striking, creating raised lines or blobs on the coin. Some 1986 pennies show dramatic cracks running across Lincoln's face, through the memorial, or even splitting letters in half. When a piece of the die completely broke off, it created what collectors call a cud, a raised, shapeless area where the design is missing. Large cuds on 1986 cents are rare and highly prized because they represent the final moments of a die's life, frozen in metal. Another category that sends shockwaves through the coin community is the wrong planchet error. A planchet is the blank metal disc before it is struck. In 1986, pennies were supposed to be struck on copper-plated zinc planchets, but mistakes happened. Some blanks meant for other denominations, experimental metals, or improperly bonded layers ended up in the cent presses. A penny struck on a bronze planchet will weigh closer to 3.11 grams instead of 2.5, instantly alerting experts. These coins are often authenticated using precise digital scales and X-ray fluorescence testing to confirm metal composition without damaging the coin. The moment such a coin is verified, its value can skyrocket into the 6 or 7 figures depending on condition and provenance. Clip planchet errors are another intriguing variation. These occur when the metal strip feeding into the blanking press overlaps or shifts, causing the blanks to be cut incorrectly. The resulting coin looks as if a bite has been taken out of it, often with a smooth, curved edge. A genuine clipped planchet from 1986 will still show proper metal flow around the clip, a detail experts use to separate real errors from post-mint damage. Multiple clips on a single coin are even rarer, and when found in high-grade condition, they become centerpieces of advanced collections that off-center strikes are visually dramatic and immediately recognizable. In these cases, the planchet was not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to miss the blank entirely. A 1986 cent struck 10 to 20% off-center is interesting, but one struck 50% or more off-center while still showing a full date and mint mark can be extremely valuable. These coins reveal how precise the minting process must be and how spectacular the results can be when something goes wrong. The history surrounding the Lincoln cent adds emotional weight to these errors. Abraham Lincoln is one of the most revered figures in American history, and his presence on the cent for over a century has made the coin a symbol of continuity. By 1986, the Lincoln cent had already survived world wars, economic depressions, and massive technological change. Collectors often say that owning a rare Lincoln cent is like holding a piece of the American story itself, and when that cent also carries a dramatic error, it becomes a narrative artifact as much as a collectible. Market value is driven not just by rarity, but by desire. The numismatic market is fueled by competition, prestige, and the thrill of discovery. When a rare 1986 error cent appears at auction, wealthy collectors, institutions, and investors pay close attention. Prices can leap far beyond estimates as bidders refuse to lose. A coin that sold for a few $1,000s decades ago might sell for hundreds of thousands today, not because the metal changed, but because the story grew richer and the population remained tiny. The idea of a $273 million market valuation reflects this broader ecosystem. When you combine the insured values of top-tier collections, museum holdings, and legendary error coins tied to the 1986 cent, the numbers climb rapidly. Some collectors insure individual coins for millions of dollars, not because they plan to sell, but because replacement would be impossible. In private sales, where prices are rarely disclosed, whispers of astonishing figures circulate, adding to the mystique. Authentication and grading are crucial steps in this world. Third-party grading services examine coins under magnification, weigh them, analyze their metal content, and assign a grade that reflects condition and authenticity. A single-point difference on the grading scale can mean tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. For a 1986 error cent, a pristine surface free of scratches, corrosion, or cleaning marks can be the difference between an interesting curiosity and a generational treasure. Collectors also study die pairings and production data, attempting to map which dies were used at which times. This detective work sometimes leads to new discoveries. A previously unknown doubled die might surface, or a new type of error might be identified, instantly expanding the known varieties of the 1986 cent. Each discovery renews interest and sends people back to their coin jars, magnifying glasses in hand. There is also a psychological element that cannot be ignored. The idea that something so small and common could be worth so much taps into a deep human fascination with hidden value. It challenges assumptions about wealth and worth. The 1986 penny becomes a symbol of possibility, a reminder that extraordinary things can hide within ordinary appearances. As the years pass, fewer high-quality examples remain undiscovered. Coins are lost, damaged, or spent without a second thought. This slow attrition increases scarcity over time. What was once merely rare becomes legendary. What was once valuable becomes priceless. The 1986 1-cent coin continues its quiet journey through history, some resting safely in climate-controlled vaults, others still circulating unknowingly, waiting for the moment someone finally looks closely enough to see what everyone else missed. And as long as that possibility exists, the hunt never truly ends. The hunt becomes even more intense when we begin to explore how collectors actually identify and evaluate a 1986 1-cent coin in real life, because this process is where dreams are either confirmed or quietly shattered. It usually starts with curiosity. A coin looks strange, heavier, lighter, shinier, or duller than expected. Maybe the date looks thick, or the letters seem doubled. Maybe the edge feels wrong between the fingers. This moment triggers a deeper inspection, often under a simple magnifying glass at first, and then under professional microscopes if suspicion grows. For the 1986 penny, experienced collectors know to examine the date closely, especially the shape of the numbers. True double die errors show separation lines and rounded edges, not flat or shelf-like doubling caused by machine vibration. This distinction is critical because machine doubling, while interesting, carries far less value. Weight testing is one of the most powerful tools in identifying valuable errors. A digital scale accurate to at least 2 decimal places can immediately reveal whether a coin falls outside the normal 2.5 gram range. A weight closer to 3.1 grams suggests a copper-based planchet, while a significantly lighter coin may indicate missing plating or an incomplete blank. These measurements are not guesses, they are evidence. Serious collectors document them carefully, sometimes weighing the same coin multiple times to confirm consistency. Magnet testing also plays a role, although pennies are not supposed to be magnetic. If a 1986 cent shows any magnetic response, it raises serious questions about off-metal errors or contamination. Edge examination is equally important. A normal copper-plated zinc penny will often show a faint zinc core on the edge where plating is thin. A solid copper edge without visible zinc can indicate something unusual, especially if combined with a heavier weight. Once suspicion turns into excitement, the next step is authentication. This is where the story either becomes official or fades away. Professional grading services examine the coin using advanced equipment and expert knowledge. They confirm whether an error occurred during minting or after the coin left the mint. Only mint errors carry significant value. Damage from circulation, tools, or environmental exposure, no matter how dramatic, does not qualify. This is why patience and honesty are essential. The market rewards genuine rarity, not wishful thinking. The emotional journey of collectors is deeply tied to this process. Many people remember the first time they sent a coin for grading. Weeks of waiting feel endless. When the results arrive, emotions can swing from disappointment to disbelief. A confirmed rare error can change how a person views coins forever. It turns a casual interest into a lifelong passion. The 1986 penny exists within a broader narrative of Lincoln cent collecting, one of the most popular areas of numismatics. Millions of people around the world collect Lincoln cents because they are accessible, historically rich, and endlessly varied. Within this massive field, error coins represent the elite tier. They are the anomalies that defy mass production, the survivors of chaos in a system designed for uniformity. Stories circulate in the numismatic community about remarkable finds. A family cleaning out an old home discovers jars of pennies saved decades ago. Among them is a strange 1986 cent with a clipped planchet and doubled date. Another tale involves a factory worker who noticed unusual pennies in his change and saved them out of curiosity, only to later learn that one was a rare off-metal strike. These stories may sound like legends, but documented cases prove they happen. Each story reinforces the belief that treasure can still be found in everyday places. The financial side of the market is equally complex. Prices are influenced by auction results, private sales, economic trends, and collector demographics. When a major auction features a rare 1986 error cent and it sells for a record price, it sets a new benchmark. Suddenly, similar coins are worth more, even if they have never been sold. Insurance values rise. Collectors reassess their holdings. The ripple effect spreads through the market. The idea of a combined valuation reaching hundreds of millions of dollars reflects this interconnected web. Museums may hold unique specimens that are technically priceless. Private collectors may own coins they would never sell at any price. When these are included in theoretical market calculations, the numbers become enormous. The 1986 penny becomes not just a coin, but a cornerstone of a vast financial ecosystem. There is also a philosophical dimension to this obsession. Coins are meant to circulate, to be exchanged, to wear down and disappear. Error coins interrupt that destiny. They are pulled from circulation and preserved, frozen in time. They remind us that perfection is not the natural state of the world, and that mistakes can create beauty, value, and meaning. Technology continues to shape the future of collecting. High-resolution imaging, online databases, and global communication allow collectors to share discoveries instantly. A newly found 1986 error cent can be photographed, analyzed, and discussed by experts around the world within hours. This collective knowledge accelerates discovery, but also raises standards. Claims are scrutinized more intensely than ever. Yet despite all the technology, the heart of the hunt remains simple. It is a person, a coin, and a moment of attention. The 1986 1-cent coin still circulates. It still hides in jars, drawers, and pockets. Most are ordinary. A few are extraordinary. And until every last one is accounted for, the possibility remains alive. That possibility keeps collectors searching, investors watching, and stories growing. The journey of the 1986 penny is far from over. As time moves forward, the narrative of the 1986 1-cent coin continues to expand, not just through discoveries, but through the way collectors assign meaning to ownership. Owning a rare error coin is not merely about possession. It is about guardianship. Many advanced collectors describe themselves not as owners, but as temporary caretakers of history. They believe these coins existed before them and will outlive them, passing from one generation to the next, carrying stories that grow richer with time. A 1986 penny with a dramatic mint error becomes a chapter in an ongoing human story of curiosity, patience, and obsession. The condition of a coin plays a crucial role in how that story is told. Surface quality matters intensely. Original mint luster, even on a copper-plated zinc coin, can elevate a specimen into elite territory. Tiny scratches, known as hairlines, or evidence of cleaning can drastically reduce value. This is why seasoned collectors emphasize restraint. A coin that looks dirty should not be cleaned, no matter how tempting it is. Cleaning removes original surfaces, erases microscopic details, and permanently damages value. Many potentially valuable 1986 cents have been unknowingly destroyed by well-meaning hands trying to make them look shiny. Storage and preservation also shape a coin's destiny. Exposure to moisture, heat, and air can cause zinc pennies to corrode from the inside, a phenomenon known as zinc rot. This makes well-preserved 1986 cents increasingly scarce over time. Collectors who recognize this early used protective holders, climate-controlled storage, and careful handling. As decades pass, these preserved coins stand out sharply against the degraded majority, further increasing their desirability and value. The global nature of the coin market adds another layer to the story. While the Lincoln cent is an American coin, its appeal crosses borders. International collectors are fascinated by American history, symbolism, and the sheer scale of U.S. coin production. Rare error cents from 1986 appear in collections in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, sometimes purchased through private deals that never reach public awareness. These hidden transactions contribute to the mystique and inflate theoretical market valuations that investment-minded buyers view rare coins differently from traditional assets. A top-tier 1986 error cent is not tied to stock market performance or currency fluctuations in the same way. It is a tangible asset with intrinsic scarcity. This attracts investors seeking diversification and long-term security. However, the market rewards knowledge. Those who understand the nuances of errors, grading, and provenance gain advantages, while uninformed buyers risk overpaying or acquiring altered pieces. Provenance, the documented history of a coin's ownership, can dramatically affect value. A 1986 penny that once belonged to a famous collector or was featured in a landmark auction carries added prestige. Documentation, photographs, and auction records become part of the coin's identity. In some cases, provenance alone can double or triple value because it transforms the coin from an object into a historical artifact with a traceable journey. The role of storytelling cannot be underestimated. Humans connect with narratives, and rare coins provide fertile ground for them. The story of a mint worker noticing a flaw, a child saving unusual pennies, or a collector recognizing a rare error after decades of study adds emotional depth. These stories are retold at coin shows, in articles, and online, reinforcing the coin's legendary status. Coin shows themselves are arenas of energy and discovery. Tables filled with glass cases display everything from common sense to museum-grade rarities. Collectors lean in, magnifiers in hand, hearts racing at the possibility of spotting something extraordinary. A rare 1986 error cent appearing at a major show can draw crowds, spark conversations, and inspire new collectors. These gatherings are not just marketplaces. They are cultural events where knowledge is exchanged and passions are ignited. Education plays a central role in sustaining interest. Books, online forums, and video content dedicated to Lincoln cents and mint errors help demystify the hobby. As more people learn what to look for, the pool of potential discoverers grows. This paradoxically makes genuine errors harder to find, but it also ensures that new finds are recognized and preserved rather than spent or discarded. The idea of a single penny being connected to a valuation of hundreds of millions of dollars continues to captivate the imagination. It challenges conventional ideas of wealth and importance. It suggests that value is not always obvious and that patience, knowledge, and attention can reveal hidden layers in everyday objects. The 1986 penny becomes a metaphor for overlooked potential, a reminder that significance is often hidden beneath the surface. Even skeptics cannot deny the documented cases of extraordinary values in numismatics. Coins far older and rarer have sold for tens of millions. While the 1986 cent is modern by comparison, its error varieties occupy a unique space where modern production meets ancient collecting instincts. This combination fuels speculation, debate, and ongoing research. As years turn into decades, the supply of undiscovered 1986 error cents will inevitably shrink. Each new discovery reduces the unknown, but also sharpens focus on what remains. The market adapts, values adjust, and legends solidify. Some coins will enter museums, others will remain hidden in private vaults, and a few may still circulate, unrecognized, passing silently from hand to hand. This uncertainty is what keeps the story alive. The 1986 1-cent coin is not finished speaking. Its whispers are still being heard by those willing to listen closely, to look carefully, and to believe that even the smallest things can carry immense weight. As the story continues, the 1986 1-cent coin begins to take on a deeper symbolic meaning for collectors and observers alike, because it represents a bridge between the past and the present, between old-world craftsmanship and modern industrial precision. Earlier coins were struck in smaller numbers, with slower processes and more human involvement. By 1986, coin production had become an industrial marvel, capable of producing millions of coins in a single day. And yet, even within this highly controlled system, human error, mechanical stress, and material imperfections still found a way to leave their marks. These imperfections are what give the 1986 penny its soul. Some of the most fascinating errors are subtle, not dramatic. A slightly misaligned die can create a rotated die error, where the reverse of the coin is rotated off its normal orientation. This type of error is easy to miss unless the coin is carefully examined, yet when discovered, it can be highly desirable. Rotation errors from 1986 are especially intriguing because they demonstrate how alignment issues could persist undetected during high-speed production runs. Another quietly powerful error is the weak strike. On some 1986 pennies, the pressure was insufficient to bring up full design details, resulting in soft lettering or faint memorial lines. While weak strikes are sometimes dismissed, certain examples show consistent weakness across multiple coins, suggesting a specific die or press issue. When combined with high overall condition and clear error diagnostics, these coins can gain recognition and value. There is also the phenomenon of strike-through errors, where foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, or metal shavings were present on the die or planchet at the moment of striking. The resulting coin shows missing or distorted areas of design where the material blocked metal flow. Grease-filled dies were relatively common in the 1980s, but dramatic strike-throughs that clearly show unusual shapes are far rarer. A 1986 penny with a well-defined strike-through tells a vivid story of the mint floor, of machines running non-stop and materials moving rapidly through complex systems. Collectors often speak about eye appeal, an intangible quality that goes beyond technical grading. Two coins with the same grade can have vastly different market values depending on how they look and feel. Color, luster, contrast, and the visual impact of an error all contribute. A 1986 error cent with rich original color and a bold, easily visible mistake will almost always outperform a dull or unattractive example. Even if both are equally rare, the community aspect of numismatics continues to shape how these coins are perceived. Online forums, social media groups, and video platforms allow collectors to share images, debate authenticity, and celebrate discoveries. A newly discovered 1986 error cent can quickly become famous within these circles, earning nicknames and becoming reference points for future research. This collective attention adds to the coin's aura and can influence market behavior. There is also a generational shift happening. Younger collectors, raised in the digital age, are discovering coins through online content rather than traditional clubs or books. For them, the idea that a modern penny could be incredibly valuable is especially compelling. It lowers the barrier to entry and makes the hobby feel accessible. The 1986 penny, still relatively modern, becomes a gateway into deeper numismatic exploration. Economic conditions also play a role. During times of uncertainty, tangible assets often gain appeal. The rare coin market has historically shown resilience during inflationary periods, as collectors and investors seek items with intrinsic scarcity. A top-tier 1986 error cent fits this profile perfectly. It is small, portable, durable, and globally recognized among specialists. The emotional connection to these coins often deepens over time. Collectors remember where they were when they found a particular piece, who they were with, and how they felt. These memories become inseparable from the coin itself. A 1986 penny discovered in childhood and later confirmed as a rare error can carry decades of personal history, making it priceless to its owner regardless of market value. Museums and educational institutions also play a role in shaping perception. When a rare error cent is displayed publicly, it validates the significance of modern coins and errors. It tells visitors that history is not only ancient, it is ongoing. The presence of a 1986 penny in a museum case challenges assumptions and invites curiosity. As the numismatic record grows, so does the responsibility of accurate documentation. Researchers catalog known examples, assign reference numbers, and publish findings. This work ensures that knowledge is preserved and that future collectors have a foundation to build upon. The 1986 penny benefits from this growing body of scholarship, which continues to refine understanding and uncover new details. At its core, the story of the 1986 1-cent coin is about attention. It rewards those who slow down, look closely, and question assumptions. It reminds us that value is not always declared. Sometimes it must be discovered. And as long as people continue to look, to learn, and to care, the legend of this small copper-colored coin will continue to grow. As this journey reaches its end, the 1986 1-cent coin stands quietly, unchanged in size, unchanged in face value, yet transformed by everything we now understand about it. What once seemed like nothing more than spare change becomes a symbol of how history hides in plain sight. This coin teaches patience. It teaches observation. It teaches respect for small details that most people overlook. Every scratch, every anomaly, every variation is a sentence in a story written by machines, people, and time itself. The idea that a penny can be connected to values reaching into the hundreds of millions of dollars is not about fantasy, but about perspective. It is about understanding how rarity, condition, error, demand, and history combine to create extraordinary worth. The 1986 penny exists at a crossroads where mass production meets individuality. Billions were made, yet only a handful are truly special. That contrast is what fuels obsession, research, and endless searching. Some of these coins now rest in protective holders, sealed away in vaults, their surfaces frozen exactly as they left the mint decades ago. Others remain loose, circulating unknowingly, passed from hand to hand, carrying potential that no one has yet recognized. Somewhere, a 1986 penny with a rare error may still sit in a jar, in a drawer, or in a pocket, waiting for the moment someone finally looks closely enough. The true power of this coin is not just financial. It is psychological. It changes how people see the ordinary world. After learning its story, no coin ever looks the same again. Every piece of change becomes a question. Every small object becomes a possibility. The 1986 1-cent coin reminds us that value is not always loud, not always obvious, and not always immediately rewarded. For collectors, this penny represents dedication and discipline. For investors, it represents scarcity and resilience. For historians, it represents a moment in America's evolving relationship with money and materials. And for dreamers, it represents hope, the belief that something extraordinary can emerge from the most ordinary place. As long as coins continue to circulate, as long as people remain curious, and as long as history continues to leave imperfect fingerprints on perfect systems, the story of the 1986 1-cent coin will never truly end. It will keep whispering to those willing to listen, reminding them that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest weight, and that even a single penny can hold a universe of stories, value, and wonder.